Hi, good evening. Welcome to Tuesday Night Yin. I'm Jane. I'm just going to give probably a minute or two before we start, just to let everyone jump on. Nothing specific prop-wise that you need tonight, but of course the more support the better in your yin practice. So if you've got a bolster and a couple of blocks, awesome. If not, a couple of cushions off the couch is good. And maybe hi. And then maybe a book or a blanket just to help bolster up the hips as well. So just make sure you're super comfy, cozy, warm, and grab some stuff from around you. Doesn't matter what it looks like as long as it supports you. So just give it just a few more moments and then we'll get started. Hope you've had a good day. I wonder how level 3 is looking for everyone. Maybe different, maybe much the same, just as long as you're taking care. Right, so we're going to get started. So if you've just jumped on in the last few seconds, I'm Jane. Welcome to Tuesday Night Yin. Make sure you've got some props that are going to support your practice, yeah? So a bolster, a blanket, some books or a towel, cushions, anything you've got that's handy. So we're going to start talking about our plan for this evening. We're going to look at the large intestine meridian. So as you may know, in our yin yoga practice, we align our practice with traditional Chinese medicine and the meridians, so in the likes of your acupuncture and that sort of thing. So today we're going to look at balancing the large intestine meridian, which actually starts in the hands and runs up the outer arm into the shoulders. Then it goes in over the shoulder blades and meets in the center of the back into the spine. It branches out from there, and one branch comes up the neck into the lower cheeks and sort of settles in around the gums and things, and then heads up into the nose. So if you experience issues with your toothache, sore throats, and potentially sore necks and things like that, it can be connected with this meridian. The other branch goes down from that center point in the upper back into the spine, goes down through into the stomach and lands in that large intestine itself. So the large intestine's role is detoxify. It's part of that whole digestion process, how that we shift waste out of the body. So it's a big one. It's also connected up with the lungs. So we're going to do a little meditation right at the end, just with some nice deep belly breaths, which will hopefully just clear ourselves in this area of the body and leave you feeling nice and balanced. But first, let's come to a comfortable seat. I'll meet you on your mat. And maybe you want to sit up on a blanket or a block just to get those hips a little higher than the knees so the lower back can relax. Consider that. Be fussy. Be sure that just gives you that little percentage more comfort, all right? And then, of course, if the knees have become elevated or the thighs, slide your blanket underneath there. Choose where the hands want to land, whether they're palms down, palms up, in your lap. Just whatever resonates with you at this time. Give yourself these next few moments to land, to allow yourself to catch up move at pace through a large portion of our days. But sometimes when we stop, it can take a while for everything else to catch up and settle as well. So just notice that process. As you start to feel a little more gathered, feel your sit bones, your legs. Allow yourself to ground a little heavier through those root chakras, through the base of your body. Let your exhale be a vehicle for that. Like a sigh, once again like a landing. Start to also notice your inhales, interweaving their way up your body, creating some spaciousness, some lightness further up. And then begin to feel this cycle of breath, linking the two. Inhale, feeling light and spacious in the upper body. Exhale, feeling heavy and grounded through the lower body. Inhale, that spaciousness, that light. Exhale, heavy. Maybe your breath begins to lengthen out a little more as you follow that mantra. And if at all in your practice you feel your mind wandering, or you feel uncertainty or anxiety creeping, regardless of where you are, even just come back to this point if you need. And come back to that feeling of light, of spaciousness as you breathe in. Heavy groundedness as you breathe out. So linger here for a couple more moments, noticing whether you need a little more lightness or a little more heaviness. Just creating a balance between the two. And then with as little disruption as possible, lower your head, gently blink the eyes open and let the light filter back in. Bring the soles of your feet together and we'll move into butterfly pose. You may like to bring some props in front of you to support you. Some blankets or cushions under the upper legs, maybe stacking a bolster, a block or two for the head eventually. Again, feel that groundedness through the sit bones. Feel the connection between your feet, finding a comfortable distance between the feet and the pelvis. And use your fingertips to lengthen your rib cage away from your pelvis. Stay a little longer if you need. Just start to lean in and quiet. Maybe bring the fingertips in front if that feels okay. Start to explore that range and the sensation in your body. Remember, we have the luxury of time. Just pause about 40 or 50% of the way in for you. And breathe. And your body invites you to explore a little further. Honor that. And also honor the need to go a little gentler than you normally would. If that's what's calling. Let your breaths expand into the back of your body. Your lower back. Maybe you feel it between the shoulder blades a little more. See if you can let the head drop a little, if that feels okay. Really round through the upper back. Bring some sensation into that meridian where it branches in the upper back. Really lean into these last couple of breaths. Feeling that nourishment it brings. The ability to release as you exhale. Whatever you need to release. Leaving your head till last. Start to press the hands back by your sides. Very slowly support your way back up to an upright position. Maybe bring your hands behind you. Take a moment there. Take a load off. Slowly bring the feet back flat. And then just take a lean back, or maybe even roll the knees from side to side a couple of times. Moving super slow. Noticing that journey between each endpoint. mindfulness and movement. Beautiful. And from here, we've got a couple of options. We're going to move our way back into either saddle pose, or if this doesn't work for your knees or your ankles, you can also come into supported butterfly. So keeping the soles of the feet together, making your way back, placing something underneath the legs there just to support the hips. And you might even prop yourself up. So a supported butterfly could look like this, with something large and cushioning behind you, maybe a rolled up blanket. Under the upper legs, scooting around towards the outer hips and making your way back. If it doesn't feel good to have something under the spine, just lay yourself flat down on the floor. I'll talk you through saddle or stay there if you prefer. Coming onto the knees, hugging the feet into the outer hips, nestling something behind you once again. Very slowly walking your way back. This could be done one leg at a time with one strap unbent. It can be really nice to feel the lower back supported here. You might even place something under the head just to bring you up a little more. And once again, no need to rush to an end point. Once you're somewhere where you can be still for a while, let that be your starting point. And then slowly, patiently, we take it breath by breath. And as you feel your stomach soften, dropping back towards the spine as you exhale. Just feel your inhale is like a massage for your internal organs. If you're in a strong extension through the spine, it might feel nice to let the head fall back, stimulating those meridians up the neck. Maybe keeping the teeth closed to work into the jaw and the cheeks. Be okay with the space. Listen to each breath, the textures. Notice the sensations in your body. In this overstimulated world we live in, it can be so peaceful, so nourishing just to tune into that inner landscape. Last few breaths here. Go slowly. And then wherever you are, start to take the next few breaths to make your way back up to sitting. Go super slowly. Support yourself. And as we come to a seat, we're going to set up for shoelace pose. Now we're going to take a variation through the arms, and I want the upper body to be the focus. So if you need to just sit cross-legged, even perching up on something, that's absolutely fine. Just focus on this upper line. The hips, it's just a bonus. So come on over to tabletop. You're going to scoot your left leg behind your right as we set up for Gomukhasana or shoelace pose. So the knees are going to stack. You're scooting the feet out of the way of the hips and then taking a seat down onto the mat, a blanket or a block. You can be quite elevated here, yeah? Feel both sit bones heavy. An option here could be to extend that bottom leg out in front of you. Or as I said, just sitting cross-legged. Take a couple of moments here to encourage those outer hips to drape down. Feel the rib cage once again gently lifting away from the pelvis. So it may be really nice to come back to that mantra in our opening meditation. That groundedness, that heaviness down through the pelvis, the legs. And then that light, that spaciousness in the upper body as you breathe in. Beautiful. And start to bring your arms out to the sides, maybe up to the sky. Take a breath in. Eagle arms, bring your left arm underneath your right. And start to bind the hands up to create that flame shape with the hands, the fingers. So don't worry if you're not connected up. And if this doesn't work, you might give the opposing shoulders a hug, or just grab hold of a piece of clothing there even. It could be a slightly softer focus here, maybe bowing the head into the hands. Relax the shoulders down. And feel your shoulder blades spreading away from each other on your back. And breathe into that space between the shoulder blades. And maybe mapping the meridian from the hands up the outer arms to the shoulders, over those shoulder blades into the center back. Just letting your awareness land there. Be okay with any sense of restriction you're experiencing, knowing it soon shall pass. Take another long, lingering breath. And very slowly release your grip. Let the arms unravel. Feel your heart space like a blooming flower. And then you choose to either lean back or shift your weight forward, returning to that tabletop. Wherever you are, pause, maybe even take a couple of rounds of cat and cow just to notice where you've been, feel the sensations on both sides. And then as you feel ready, we'll shift over to the opposite side. So if you're coming with me, bring your right leg behind the left, or the opposite side to what you did last time. Take a seat back onto your supports, blanket, block. Give yourself a little more than you think you need, and just feel your body soften into that support. It's a really beautiful thing to do for yourself. Encourage that unraveling through the outer hips. Feel that light spaciousness in the upper body. And as you take your next breath in, reach the arms out, maybe up. And this time bring the right arm underneath the left. Once again, the opposite to what you did last time. And just notice whether it feels good to soften the upper back a little, or to remain a little more upright. Send your mind's gaze into that meridian and also into where you feel this the most. Let your breath nurture the large intestine. Its physical role I've spoken about. It's an integral part of that sort of waste disposal unit our body has. But energetically, an unbalanced large intestine meridian can be a place where we store sadness, can be a place where we hold that any old grief. We move on with life, but it stays with us. So be okay with feeling things here. It's all very well to focus on letting go of things in our practice. Sometimes we have to sit with emotions, sit with those unwanted things that we've pushed down and down and down. And eventually we become a little more okay with it. Take another beautiful breath there in your experience, feeling held. And then very slowly unravel those arms. Take a lean back or shift your weight forward. And then you choose, yogi's choice. Either head back into child's pose for a breath or two, or maybe downward facing dog. And just feeling those 4 points of contact. And just allow that to ground you, to come back into your center. And from there, we're going to move into swan pose. So slide your weight forward. Bring your right knee in behind your right wrist. And extend the left leg out behind you. Here, especially in the yin practice, it's really nice just to slide something under the right hip. Like a blanket, you can adjust it exactly to the right depth or width or support amount. And in this variation, we're going to stay upright. So your books, your blocks could be just the perfect support there to press the hands into, or the floor might be enough. Take a deep belly breath here. Maybe another one, maybe another two. Let your breath pour into your heart as well. Play for the next couple of breaths with maybe letting the head lift or even drop back. Stretching into the neck, the throat, the jaw. Let the shoulders and the collarbones soften. Maybe returning the head to neutral if that's quite intense. Stay if it feels right. And for the last couple of breaths, take your choice here. Whether your body is just crying out to bow forward, or whether you want to remain in an upright position. Really sigh into it wherever you land. And slowly, almost lazily, walk your hands back underneath you. Come back upright if you were down. And once again, choosing to move back to child's pose or downward facing dog. Just taking a couple of breaths to pause and notice. When it feels right, start to slide that left knee forward. Setting yourself up with more or less support, whatever you need. And feeling in. It'll be quite a different experience on this side. Just acknowledging that. Allow there to be that heaviness, that groundedness down through the pelvis, through the legs. Feel that softness, fluidity in the upper body, lightness. Respond to the rise and fall of your breath. Stay, or if it felt good, to let the head drop back, let the heart melt forward. Maybe keep the teeth shut. Letting that heart space radiate now. For the last minute or so, feel free to soften in. Maybe bow the upper body forward. Whatever feels right there. Just take a load off energetically. Feel your body sigh. And taking your time, slowly walk your hands back underneath you and bring yourself up. This time, take a seat onto that left hip. Slowly bring the legs round in front of you. And give the legs a little shake out, a little roll in and out. Good. I'm going to show you this one very quickly before we take a lie down. It's a little bit unusual. You're going to lie on your back, but you want to bring your right hand up the back and rest it either between the shoulder blades, so the palm will be into the floor, or into the lower ribs. If that's your range there, that's fine as well. So it's a little bit like your Gomukhasana if you were reaching up and grabbing that top hand, but we're just doing the bottom hand. So as you come down onto your back, if you're using your right hand first, you're going to roll onto your left side a little, take the knees with you, reach that right hand up your back, and then roll back on to your back so that you feel like your hand is almost massaging in between the shoulder blades. Now bring the feet back flat on the floor. Take the hips over to the right and then let the knees roll over to the left. Just let them do that in a relaxed way. So it may be nice to place a bolster or a cushion between the knees there if you like. And then encourage that right shoulder and the right collarbones to soften down and relax back. See if your inhale can gently expand back into that hand. And as you exhale, just let your rib cage fall into the hand. It's okay to feel a little tingling. It's okay not to feel much at all. Just know that you are giving the external rotators of that right shoulder a gentle passive stretch. That you are giving the wrists some love. Just gently hydrating some areas that hold us up a lot in our more dynamic yoga practices. Good. And just roll back onto your left side. Slowly release your arm out. Return back onto your back for a moment. Pause in Shavasana and feel your two arms. Feel the sensations in the right side. Maybe tingling, maybe some heat. Beautiful. And slowly roll onto your right side, enough to reach the left hand up from the lower back into the lower ribs or between the shoulder blades. And then slowly roll your way back onto your back. Take the hips over to the left side of your mat and then let the knees fall over to the right. Again, propping up the legs if you need. And then notice straight away how that left shoulder is going to want to curl in and move towards the heart. See if you can encourage it to drop back. Notice if this side feels a little different. Sometimes our more or less dominant side can feel quite different. And of course, old injuries. As you exhale, sigh down through the back of the heart. Let it fall back into your hand. These last couple of breaths, slow them down. Really falling into your exhales. Beautiful, and nice and slow. Return back onto your right side. Release the arm out and roll back onto your back. Once again, feel those sensations as the blood moves back into the arm. That flushing. Sense of renewal. Beautiful, and simply shift the hips over to the right and take the knees over to the left into a supine twist. As always, lots of options here. Maybe taking twisted roots, maybe extending the bottom leg, and just keeping the knees stacked. And if either of the legs are floating at all, bolster them up. I urge you to use your props here, and then feel how that right outer hip takes a little sigh and relaxes. Maybe use your right hand to gently spin the belly back towards the right. Nestle your shoulder blades in. Really allow yourself to feel held here. Feel the full support of your mat. I spoke a little bit before about this large intestine meridian, we're not imbalanced, but when it is in balance, there's transformation, there is change, letting go, moving on. As little disruption as possible. Start to move into the other side of your twist. A healthy, large intestine energy allows us to let go of patterns of negative thinking, destructive emotions, and spiritual blockages that we create that prevent us from being our best selves. And once you feel balanced through the two sides, slip your way back onto your back. Do anything you need, give the knees a squeeze. Stretch out long. And maybe place a bolster or a cushion under your knees to help the legs relax, the lower back relax. Your arms rest comfortably at your sides, maybe on your body. Allow any sense of effort to leave. You dive into your exhale. Let the next inhale naturally occur. All that's left now is each inhale and each exhale. This beautiful cycle of breath. And feel free to remain on your back. We'll slowly come to a comfortable seat for our closing meditation, pranayama. Chosen as a way of connecting with the large intestine and clearing out any remaining blockages. Breathe in deeply through your nose and feel your belly really expand. Pause for 2 or 3 moments. Breathe out and feel the belly fall towards the back of the spine. Pause for a couple of moments. Breathe in. Pause. Breathe out. Pause. 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 Just return back to your natural state of breath. It's said that that breath can be taken as much as 100 times to get the full benefit. So feel free to stay a little longer and take a few more rounds. Be sure to drink some water after your practice, or herbal tea, something similar. I'll leave you here now to continue your practice or move on with your evening. In acknowledgement of this practice, ourselves and each other, we say Namaste. See you again soon. Take care.